The Dread were the new enemy faction in the final shape. We knew the Witness created them and had some small lore hints, but the new dungeon reveals a ton and it gets pretty dark. Creatures created from Dissenters who oppose the final shape. Subjugators born from tormentors split apart, and even more. Some of these Dread even seek to evolve further after the death of their master, and today we discuss their stories. The Dread are a pretty cool faction, the first one we've had in the game in a very long time. They come in many shapes and sizes, have different darkness powers in Strand and Stasis, big glaives, and some can even fly. Bungie told us they even have their own language which could be deciphered by players, which people are still working on, by the way. The only thing was, we didn't have any strong lore to go with them. Just an entry or two from the expansion's release and a line of dialogue from Ghost. Sundered Doctrine changes this completely though.
Servants of the Witness, they must be remnants from a conquered species. Guardian, I'm not sure what that creature is. It reads like a scion, but its genetics are scrambled, changed.
Agents of the Black Fleet, Nezarec, Rolk, even Callus. They were just the beginning.
First, I'm going to read a card from the Final Shapes release, where it explains how the Witness and the Pale Heart crafted the Dread, or one member of them. The Witness has made an old friend of darkness. It knows intimately the language of warp and weft, how to weave a spider silk notion or slip a needle of intrusive thought into the fabric of another's mind. In its hands, the light should be alien and inelegant, the hammer and chisel so unlike its customary tools. But though the Witness has never wielded light like this before, parts of it recall a time when they made the gardener's tools their own. But now, that power is not freely given. Now, every stroke of the chisel is accompanied by a distant wail, a minor annoyance at most. The raw material is mediocre, but a true artist can paint on any canvas. The Witness has far more vision than the feckless sphere it has superseded. A paean to our final work. It works in broad strokes first, cuts away the excess, peels back the integument and lays bare the shivering raw meat of it. In it, the Witness sees a glimpse of the sculpture trapped inside, waiting to be freed by its hand. One assistant places the pins, another wipes away the effluvia. A form to teach our enemy fear, a shadow they will dread. The rough grows restless, it thrashes, threatening to upset the delicate work done so far. The Witness spares it a sharp, quelling look, and it stills. Nothing may distract the auteur from its work. Onward, it refines the form, tearing wings of muscle away from bone, carving down until exposed marrow streams in the cold air. Its tempo increases, its motions grow sharper until it's slashing wildly at its canvas. Its assistants tremble. They do not see that its expression is frozen in absolute serenity. It is as calm and clear-eyed as it has ever been, discarding yards of still-living tripe to reveal perfection. So in that card, the Witness is crafting what it believes is a perfect being. It says it uses the light, recalls it from a time long past, likely when members of the precursor species used the light to terraform worlds and create gardens. Minions assist as it tears away flesh and tortures this creature, cuts away the excess and creates a new form the enemy will fear and dread. Nice wording there. Let's start at the top with Tormentors. Tormentors first appeared in Lightfall, the first members of the Dread we ever seen. This was before the Pale Heart, where the Witness seemingly would create the rest of them. Lore from a TWID last year in May told us that Nezarec was a prime tormentor. Nezarec, the version we faced in the raid and not his original form, was created from Rolk's blueprint. Nezarec was said to be the first tormentor from which all others owe their lineage. So this implies that tormentors were created from Nezarec, a disciple of the Witness. So with Callus's cloning tech and darkness influenced pyramid tech, something along those lines the tormentors were forged. We don't have any new lore on tormentors from the dungeon, so that seems to be their backstory for now.
What was that?
The fruits of an unholy alliance between the Witness and Callus. I fear they'll have more surprises in store.
Subjugators are crafted using light that has been bent into tools of control and pain. Subjugators seem to be born from tormentors. The Witness said, "Take shape, second born of pain." Through the light, bent in service to the deep, we twist your form into being. Take shape now. In the deep, it peels shrieking torment into sistered slabs. Their goal, spread memories of suffering and pain to others, enact the final shape. Subjugated halves of torment are left in the silence of the deep, their eyes open to the world and weep. These creatures are stuck, though, between what they once were and what the Witness turned them into. This is seen in the second part of the card, where subjugators Seelan and Yemek speak to each other. These are sister subjugators, which are the bosses from the Dual Destiny mission. The sisters are two parts of a whole. One sister questions what happens in the end now. Will they be joined back together as a whole, or will they remain separated? As they start to ponder what might happen and how to change their fate if possible, the Witness intervened and forced them to continue their work. Seelan sits with their other half, surveying the pale heart. "Sister, what becomes of us when we succeed?" Their other half ponders the question for the first time. After a moment, they answer, "We return." "And what becomes of us?" Seelan emphasizes. The question frustrates Yemek. She thrusts her lance into festering brambles. "We return?" Seelan rotates a shard of stasis in its hand, analyzing the split reflections. Return to where there is no Yemek, only an echo within the Witness. This frustrates her more. She pulls the lance free and stands over Seelan. "I am Yemek." "Exactly," Seelan says, letting the shard fall and dissipate before standing to meet her other half. "And who were you before?" "Not nothing," Yemek responds. "But not Yemek," Seelan says before pointing to itself. "And not Seelan. Better buried than faded from memory." Yemek turns away. "We return, together again." "Together, within it," Seelan probes. "Is that what you want?" Yemek is silent. "I know what it wants. I'm asking what you want." Seelan sees the final shape just as clearly as the Witness does. It will bring this shape into being. There can be no pursuit in deviation of this purpose, but Seelan has considered what follows, what could follow. It takes in the vista of the pale heart again, its gaze lingering in a spot marred by darkness. What if we could truly be whole? A voice pierces Seelan's mind and cuts the notion from it. Abandon this meager hope. The first subjugator the Witness created was called First of the Reshaped, Ket-Ir, or Ket-Ur, and this is believed to be the subjugator that killed Eris Morn in Heresy's opening cinematic. The Grim are flying gun bats. They can be pretty annoying to deal with at times, but the lore card about them is terrifying. The Witness speaks to a Dissenter, a being who is once a part of them, a part of the whole. This precursor, like the statues we see in the Pale Heart, did not believe in the final shape and wanted to out the Witness and its lies. What did the Witness do instead? Turn the Dissenter into a Grim. The mind of this single Dissenter might have even been distributed tons of times to create this army of Grim we now fight. Here, A word of dissent fractured from the witness, one like it in form and lineage, and here it remains, held prisoner by that to which it once belonged. What do you hope to accomplish alone, tiny wisp of smoke? Unveil your deceitful promises. The fractured whisper of dissent weaves between the witness's words, and I am not alone. The witness narrows its voice, compressing all sound into a thin edge. You fracture from your purpose. This shape no longer suits you. The whisper turns to a hiss. You cannot keep us in darkness. We shall see, the witness responds. Your feelings seem conflicted. Your thoughts scattered. The witness speaks to each splintered impulse within the world of dissent, tethering each one to a shape in the darkness, manifesting it through twisted light. The voice calls them forth. The word of dissent protests, but instead produces a bestial wraith that bursts from its mouth, wailing, trailing fluids and gurgled cries. The time for penitence has passed. It is the first of many. Grim splinters rip away, disconnected and twisted by the witness's commands. Each wriggling expulsion shrieks in mimicry of its host's choked screams. Expel until nothing remains. One word of dissent violently rips into a billowing cloud of grim. They look to each other with waning, morose understanding as lucidity slips away into instinct. Dark wings soon blot out to the sky and carry swarms of ravenous grim. Their guttural streaks emanate gurgling whines and drowned pleas. When the colony roosts together or soars across the pale heart in unison, they nearly remember the warm, fleshy nest that once they called home together. They nearly remember a deeper connection between them, a singular nexus, as if they had been one being before this exodus. Endlessly they search for it, huddled together around the unceasing number of dark scars within the pale heart. Drawn by some latent familiarity, they circle above the quiet whispers, and their numbers grow. But now, as the guardians shoot them down, the colony loses pieces of itself. The memories fade more still. Colonies mix, and latent familiarity recedes into instinct and habit. Recognition of the former erodes and gives way to oblivion. I originally thought that husks could have been hive-based or scorned with worms, remnants of what the caretaker was doing from Vow. The card we get about the husk now explains that they were actually fallen. In the card, Elixni Veskith sought the darkness in a way like Aramis did, seeking to turn on the traveler and find new power and meaning. The witness offered Veskith salvation, and his mind was then sliced apart in the depths of darkness. Veskith became a vessel, a bladed engine of spite and torment, as it said. This Elixni was literally stripped of his identity and made into a tool by the witness. And in the end, it seemed like Veskith mentally knew what had happened. He recognized his past Elixni allies entering the Pale Heart, but they didn't acknowledge him at all. And he couldn't do anything about it as he sat there and guarded a tormentor. Husk is a fitting name for this enemy type because of this lore. Next up, we have lore about the Weavers and Attendants, the Scions. We first saw the Scion transformation under the Witness with Callus and the Shadow Legion. Missions like Vox Obscura from Witch Queen explained their allegiance to darkness and how they were beginning to follow its voice.
Guardian, you've reached the origin of the psionic broadcasts.
These broadcasts are not comprised of words, but images, feelings, and impressions. My optices will show me their contents through a telepathic link, similar to the Mindscape. I see the silhouette of a Scion. They stand at the head of a full Cabal Legion. Above them hovers a black pyramid, and behind them stands a towering statue of gold. A statue of my father, Callus. His arms outstretched, hand open, beckoning. I can hear his voice. His calls to me, promising refuge, promising salvation.
This transformation did take place, but it's nothing like what they wanted. Scions have mind powers which they seem to use freely, but under the Witness, these new creations are stuck in the mindscape of the voice of darkness infinitely. All they see is the promise the final shape has to offer, and there's no way around it. Aim, a scion in the Warlock bond, is one of the first scions to ascend. She tries to resist the Witness at one point, retreating to her mindscape as it rips away her flesh and forges her into something new. Inside, she finds a doppelganger of herself, a darkness version of herself, which overtakes her completely. Aim didn't want to fully give in after she realized what was happening. She was fully transformed under the Witness now, yet her mind was trying to escape elsewhere. The Scion attendants are beings created from the mind and memories of a Scion named Hewlett. Hewlett's identity and mind and body are completely stripped away, fractured and weaponized. These memories become the attendants. The card mentions stasis and the Witness says, "You, warriors of pain born from salvation, attend to us." So the Dread are very interesting. Most of them feel fragmented. Subjugators like Seelin and Yemek. They want to become something new, evolve, reshape the Witness's imperfections created into something they can align with. The Dread are not mindless, although sometimes they may feel lost. They are not straight up clones of the Witness. They are built from hatred, many voices, creatures, and experiences, and have their own language. This lore seems like the beginning for the Dread, and that's a good thing, both for the story and gameplay as we move forward into future DLCs. Anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. Some more backstory about the Dread and their creation. If you'd like to see some more Destiny news, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.